Live. So, hello everyone. Welcome to our second session of this open day. Now we will hear from a new user group. It's India's user group. So I hope you will all enjoy this session. And Ujawal, please, you and your team take over. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks, Selma. Hello, everyone. My name is Ujjwal, and I'm joined by several members of our newly formed QGS India user group. We are really excited to be here. We want to share our journey of creating this user group and some of the interesting work that has been done in India. Hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes.
In this session, we will start with our journey of how we created this user group, then talk about creating a website and hosting it on the qgis.org subdomain. We have some three really interesting case studies where the speaker will show how they used QGIS and QField in a really interesting way. And then we'll share some of our upcoming events and how you can join the community. If you look at the QGIS analytics dashboard, which tracks the usage of QGIS, India is the largest user base of QGIS. We have more users of QGIS in India than anywhere else in the world, and that's amazing. QGIS is really popular. It's used widely across the spectrum of research industry, startups, and all the different domains. And that means we have a lot of talent in India who know and use QGIS. But all of the work they've been doing is kind of in isolation. The community in India is also not connected with each other and also not very well with the global QGIS community. And this is something that we really wanted to address for a long time. A lot of us had this ambition of starting a user group, connecting this community, but it didn't really work out. We really wanted it to be a pan-India effort. It didn't really feel right to start it in a city or maybe in a university. So we till now didn't have a user group. Finally, just a month back, an opportunity came where there was a FOSS4G Asia conference, and we had this large gathering of open source community in India. And it was an amazing energy at the conference. There was a lot of QGIS users from across the country. And as we were kind of talking and thinking about this user group, this felt like the right place to start the user group. So we called a meeting. Lots of people showed up, and we discussed, how we should form this user group, how should we establish it, what should we do, and there was a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and that's where we started the first step of creating this user group. So how do you create the user group? Well, the first thing we did was at the conference itself, we set up a Telegram group and say, here, this is our community channels, and we started sharing it with our networks. People started joining in, and within a day, we had 100 people, and just amazing momentum, a lot of energy there. And we said we should now start thinking about how we should go and do different things. So we set out to figure out what should we do, what should be the mission of the user group, and again with the input of the community, we wanted to really it to be an open community where everybody can come in, have this shared space where they can share their work, learn from each other, and also share and connect with the global QGIS community. Once we had this group, again, there was a lot of interest. Somebody in the group said, hey, we should have a group logo. So one other fun thing we did was just ask the community to create a logo, and we started receiving a lot of submission. And of course, in the age of AI, we got a lot of AI-generated logos. But I mean, that was useful. It just kind of let us think, what does it mean for our user group, in the user group? What is our identity? And that kind of distilled our thinking into what should our logo represent. And finally, we had our logo. This was created by Arjun, and it really captured the essence that the community really wanted to be. And we really loved the logo, and it really was done through this iteration with input from the whole community. Once we had user group and a logo, we said, what should we do? There was a lot of interest to do different things. So we had lots of members. Everybody wanted to volunteer. We started organizing ourselves in this gigantic shared document where people were collaborating, figuring out what to do next, adding comments. Ultimately, we self-organized into smaller groups. We had a working group which said will design and set up our website. We had a group which said we'll source content, we'll review the content, figure out what are the content guidelines that make sense for the website. We had people who were interested in setting up and moderating the community channels and ensuring everybody is included. And we had a lot of people interested in planning for events and outreach. And again, these are the smaller groups which are actively, where active volunteers are planning and organizing the group. Uh, you'll hear from all members of all of the subgroups, and they'll share what they've done. I'll hand it over to Aman, who's going to share a journey on making the website.
Hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, so as usual said, the momentum was there to just, we had the communication channels ready. Now it was time for us to set up our website and bring all together the content and the things people have been doing in India, which is not published online. So the first step that we did was uh, started thinking about how do you set up the website. And luckily for us, we had a template ready from the QGIS user group, which is hosted on the QGIS GitHub itself. So we wanted to use this template itself, and that is the guidelines. If any group wants to create their own website, should use this. Now, to use this, we had to modify a lot of things in this template. It was just bare bone, and we wanted to make it functional. So with the help of the team, QGIS team, Lova and Tim, we made few changes to the template itself. So if you look at the template initially, it looked something like this, even bare bone than this. So this is the template that QGIS offers for the user groups, and we converted into our own website. We modified the content and then added all the relevant content that the India community brings to the website. So interesting thing is, now we are the first user group to be using subdomain of QGIS. So you can see in.qgis.org. We are the first one to do, even though we are not the first to be a user group, late, but anyway, we are using this template for the first time. So if any user group wants to build their own website, I think we might be able to guide you. To just walk you through this website, as you can see, we have a lot of additional things added from the bare bones template that was provided. You can see here we have events, ecosystem, tutorials, learning resources, and blogs as well. Uh, Starting with case studies, we already have multiple case studies written, as you will hear from other members of the group talk about this. But the way QGIS is used in India specifically has been written here. You also have events. So all the events that happen particularly in India are updated here regularly. So you can see QGIS open day written, and we also have a special women in QGIS upcoming on 8th March. So these are few things that will be again showcased. You also have the ecosystem. So far nobody knew what plugins and products are coming out of India. So we now have a dedicated page for that as well. You also see tutorials. So the first tutorial is already published. There are multiple incoming which are being reviewed by the team. You already have QField, a tutorial published here which you can read through as to how people in the community from India have used for their own purposes. You also have learning resources in various languages. You already have various Indian languages, uh, QGIS tutorials already published on this website. And you already have blogs which is now written by Ujjwal on how did we start QGIS India group. Now, if you want to start your own QGIS website, you can reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you out. But the interesting thing was, uh, within a span of 1 month, we got the setup ready. We have our website live, and also multiple first time contributors contributed, and which shows the diversity and also enthusiasm of QGIS India user group, that they want to contribute. It was just that the platform was missing. So now we'll hear from Malcolm, who is going to talk about his part where he contributed. So I'll hand it over to him.
Do you mind if I interrupted the question?
Sure, go ahead.
How easy is the website to maintain? I know that some user groups are not highly technical. So how was the setup? And is it a case of like it's a bunch of markdown files that are then published using pages? Is it relatively easy? How does that work? Sorry to get a little technical.
No, I think thanks for asking that question, sir. I think that is an important question. So the way you just set up, it is actually a Hugo based website itself. So these
Okay.
are all markdown files that you just have to edit, and it's not complicated at all. So the way you do it is you just use this template and then create your own repository, as we have for QGIS India user group.
Mhm.
And now from here on, it is just editing the markdown files. So if you see within the contents page, we'll see all the markdown files, the tutorials, the case studies. All you have to do is edit only these things, and these are just plain markdown files where you have written and edited the images.
Oh,
So it's
brilliant.
nothing
Even I can do
fancy.
that. That's cool.
Yes. So all you might have to change few logos and stuff. As you can see here, these are a little hidden, but I think with the help of uh, AI, I think these are not very hard to find nowadays. So you can just edit these, and but everything is still markdown files itself, so should not be hard.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Malcolm. Yes.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Is my screen visible now? Hi.
Yes. Oh, no, not yet.
Yes. Yeah. First of all, huge shout out to the QGIS India user group. It's been fantastic. I've been using QGIS for more than 10 years, but I only got the opportunity to meet everyone for the first Fuji, and everything has quickly, become so nice and organized. And thanks to Ujwal and the entire team behind this. So I'll just quickly go to my case study, which talks about documenting an ancient drainage system. So just to give you a brief insight, I come from this place called Goa, which is the smallest village in India. Okay, and it's known world over for its beautiful beaches, white sandy beaches, and tropical climate. Okay, so it's a very famous tourist destination as well, and a lot of people visit Goa for this relaxing, calm vibe. But of late, what we are seeing is, especially post COVID, is that a lot of people are now, wanting to come and stay in Goa and build their homes in Goa, and this has put on a little bit of stress on the resources, especially land resources, to an extent where now development is starting to feel like accidental. And so we thought that we'll try to integrate GIS and to help the local governing bodies which are struggling right now, to with this unprecedented development, to transition them from being reactive governance to proactive governance. And that's where we felt, we'll touch upon different aspects of the village, from agriculture, infrastructure, water resources, natural resources. And this ancient drainage system was one of the aspects that we touched. So let's just move to the drainage system now. So in Batalbati, there is this drainage system, which you can see in the image over here. It has been in existence for estimated more than thousands of years. Okay, and it's supposed to be flood mitigation system, but over time, uh, the memory of these systems have been fading. Even with the village elders, it's been fading, and as a result, This drainages itself are now under threat of encroachment, blockages, and all. So we set out to document its current state, what are the challenges, and where there are issues, and we found that the best approach would be QGIS and the Q field. So I'll just walk you through how we went about this exercise using open source QGIS and Q field. Yeah. Just before that, you can see here some more pics of the drainage system. You know, in places where we visited, we saw 1 meter, 2 meter depth, but here you can see it's hardly a foot. And here you can see a mature tree which has grown right inside, telling us about how long this has been like this, neglected. So, so that's why we looked at this case study to try and identify this drainage system. So this is the approach that we took. We had the cadastral plan. So this cadastral plan was made in 1972, more than 50 years back, and it was basically a land record, and it had this drainages marked on it. So I'll show you in QGIS later. And we had also mapped the entire village using precision drone mapping, and this allowed us the opportunity to overlay this cadastral plan onto the high resolution aerial data. So I'll just show you my QGIS interface. So you can see this high resolution data, and the cadastral plan is looking something like this. So this cadastral plan is precisely overlaid onto the drone data. So let me just show you in QGIS. So you can see this georeferencing done, cadastral plan, and the actual data on the ground. And this allowed us to trace the drainages. So this black line represents the drainages, and we traced the entire drainage network. Now it was very easy for us because it was georeferenced. We could now transfer this digitized network to the QField app. So QField actually helped us to navigate to every channel in this network and take geotag photographs and validate the presence and also the evidence, collect evidence of its status, that is whether it was choked, whether it was encroached. And once this whole data was gathered, we brought it back into QGIS where we could see the actual scenario. So like I'll just show you. We have the geotag photos, and just click and sorry. So you can see the photos geotagged at their location, which tells exactly the story of that particular location. So we saw situations like garbage, drainage choking, and all that. And another interesting thing, what we learned was for the first time we could measure this drainage network. So the entire network is about 12 kilometers in length, covering the entire village. And we noticed that there were interconnected ponds like this one you see over here. The water comes, enters the pond. Only when the pond is filled, the water enters the drainage channel again, goes down, collects into another pond over here. Again, it is connected, and then finally goes into the low-lying fields. So this ancient system was designed in such a way to capture the water, recharge the ground, and also release the excess water into the paddy fields. So it's a very interesting system in this regard. So once this whole thing was done, we were able to provide the village administration with a map of the village, and we also created an interactive map, which you are seeing over here. And this was also made using QGIS server. So at the back end, the engine that is running is QGIS server, which will now enable the local administrative bodies to use this in their planning. So the final outcome is we map the entire drainage network which will now support evidence-based planning for the future of the village. And also, as you can see in this image, we were able to get together elders from the village, the local administrative officials from the village panchayat, students, and us as professionals together in a community-led initiative. And this was much appreciated by the village, and it is easily replicable for villages across Goa, which are also having this threats of unplanned development. So that's all from my side. I'd like to conclude here. Yes, thank you. Uh, Sorry.
Hi everyone, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Rajat. I'm here to talk about a slightly different kind of QGIS and R-based study that we did last year in the higher altitude regions of Himachal Pradesh, where we decided to study the population and how much population is in the particular state of Himachal Pradesh of snow leopards, and also as a first we decided to see what other mammals are distributed in the snow leopard region. So the fundamental question here was why monitor snow leopards, right? First of all, in the higher regions, if you look at the snow leopard range, it covers most of the Himalayan region and the Tibetan plateau, and some of the mountain regions near the Mongolian desert and those regions. Now, we know that these regions have a very severe threat of climate change and tourism, and there's also livestock depredation, due to which there's retaliatory killing that happens of these snow leopards by the locals. And also the fact that snow leopards are apex predators in this region, it implies that they are having a considerable impact on ecology. And then there are these initiatives like the PAWS, which is the Population Assessment of World Snow Leopards, and SPY, which is the local chapter in India, which is looking at studying the snow leopard population in different states within the country. So these are basically collaborative efforts from 12 snow leopard range countries, which uh, push towards assessing snow leopard population in local regions. So in Himachal Pradesh, it's the state animal of Himachal Pradesh, and it's also the first state to complete this assessment twice. The first one was done in 2017, and it took about 3 years to complete it. But the second one, what I'm presenting now, happened only within a year. So we kind of there was better planning for the second one. And this project was carried out as a collaborative effort between the Himachal Pradesh Forest Department and Nature Conservation Foundation. So the main objectives of this study was to obviously estimate the abundance of snow leopards in the state of Himachal Pradesh, and also as the first, because the way we assess the spread of snow leopards is by setting up camera traps across different locations within the ecosystem of this animal. We decided that we get other data, like data of other mammals that pass through and all that. So we decided to understand where these other mammals are occurring within the landscape of snow leopards. So the fundamental question was to where to place these cameras, right? So first, what we did was we used QGIS to understand which was the regions that we wanted to place the camera traps in. So we mapped the snow leopard habitat according to their elevation and the elevation in which they're generally distributed, and the tree cover data that we get from Dynamic World. And there was also prior knowledge, occupancy knowledge was used by earlier studies which did interview surveys and all that of locals in the region. And we defined a region of higher strata and lower strata in terms of density of snow leopard probability. And then we divided the habitat that we had divided as high and low into grids of 4 by 4 kilometers. And then camera traps were deployed with one camera trap per grid. And the way the camera traps were deployed was based on, again, local knowledge and signs of scat and other fur markings and all of the snow leopards that was available. There are two types of analyses that happened. First was the SECR analysis, where first the snow leopard, it was specific to snow leopards, where the information was extracted. Snow leopard images were extracted from camera traps, which was about 271 camera traps divided over 6 sites, and each camera trap was placed for about 60 days. After that, after we extracted the snow leopard images, we did a two-stage validation, which is basically comparing the rosettes, these patterns of the snow leopards, and assigning an identity to each individual. And with that, we created something called capture histories. These were all inputs for SECR, and we defined the sessions, and we built a habitat mask again using QGIS, and all of these went into an input for the SECR analysis, which we did using R. And this gave an output of the density of snow leopard within the entire state. These are some of the camera trap images that we got for the last year's estimation. And we got around, the density was about 0.35 snow leopards per 100 kilometer square, and the estimated abundance that we got was about 83 individuals with an upper limit of 103 and a lower limit of 67. Now, for the other mammals, what we did was, because we get this vast amount of camera trap image data, which is about 450,000 images. So we ended up tagging all of them, that each by species. And the tag data, we used a package in R called CamTrapR to extract the metadata out of it. And we processed that, and we got occurrence information. This occurrence information, because we didn't want spatial autocorrelation for species, we, based on the species behavior and their distribution in these regions, we performed spatial thinning, and these thinned occurrences, along with the environmental variables, which were also extracted from Landsat, SRTM, and WorldClim data, where we again removed the most correlated variables, and we brought it down to about 9 environment variables, which was then used to as an input for an ensemble species distribution model, which is a series of machine learning models which selects the best one out of the set for the particular species. And this gave us output something like this, where we documented the spread of individual species in specific regions of the snow leopard landscape. So these are the images, respectively, blue sheep, ibex, and musk deer. So if you can just maybe just have a look at how these species are distributed in the same landscape very differently. And now the further studies can be done based on what causes them to spread out this way and all of that. So this gave us a baseline in terms of where the species are from the data that we procured from our camera traps. Now, the key takeaways of this study was that we successfully completed another statewide assessment, and the also, because of proper spatial planning and uh, local support, we were able to do a study which took around 3.5 years for the first time within 1 year, including analysis. So yeah, and the spatial, and we also found out that spatial modeling enables robust density estimates, and we had a lot of landscapes scale design guided by QGIS, and this we hope will give some sort of a conservation initiative in the future. Thank you.
Snow leopards are one of my favorite animals. Very, very cool.
Yeah, really cool to see their movement.
Thank you.
What is the goal of the density tracking, just out of interest? So is it just to know where the snow leopards are? Is there some decision maker behind this? Or what is the planning going to happen after this research?
So in India, there are lots of these big cat monitorings that are happening. There is a tiger population estimation which happens, and these are all marked species, and these are species that behave as indicator species for certain ecosystems. And from the past monitoring program which happened a few years back to now, there has been a lot of proactive involvement of forest departments and local communities, because it gives you also a number that the last study gave around 51 snow leopards, and in the current study there's about 83. So people kind of get to know that there's a population that is increasing, and it's also a sense of, and there's more funds that gets given to these projects, and a lot of these things happen.
How do you know the population's not increasing? How do you know the population is increasing and it's not a bias from having a better model and study? So you're seeing more of the population.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
Sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
bias traders. I
Because
like these kind of
we
studies.
kept
Yeah,
discussing these things too, actually, in our
yeah.
workspaces. Yeah.
No, because I suppose in your model as well, you're going to have to correct for dominant animals in the area versus subdominant animals, which you're going to see less. Oh, this is a cool study. I'm going to have to go look. Is there anywhere that people can go and have a look at your study?
Yeah, there are quite a bit of papers published. If you go to Nature Conservation Foundation website, I'll put it in the chat box maybe. All our publications are on it.
Okay, cool. Don't want to take
Yeah.
up any more of your time. I know other people probably need to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Thank you. Myself, Sri Vishalji. I am currently working as a junior research fellow in IIT Hyderabad in Civil Engineering Department. This is my master's project, resource and water ward mapping of Watavada Panchayat in Western Ghats using QGIS and QField. So whatever I say, rural village in Idukki district of Kerala that you can see here. So it is a part of Western Ghats, and its elevation ranging from 700 to 2,500 square kilometer meter, and it is mostly covered with forest and plantation. As you can see, it is have a rugged terrain, and its population is very sparse, and the population density is also around 76 people. And it is mainly the population is mainly concentrated in the central lowland valley area, and their main livelihood is vegetable cultivation, and so the Watavada is known as a cool season agriculture hub of Kerala. So coming to problem statement, the Panchayat only had a rough sketch of ward boundaries, and the ward boundaries were wrong, and it was not true to scale. And this is another map which was posted in the wall of the Panchayat office, and which was also like same and wrong. And there was no Panchayat level land use and maps or statistics, and lack of resource mapping was there. For ward boundary demarcation, unlike other panchayat in Kerala, the Watavada's ward boundaries follows a natural feature such as streams, small channels, and ridges. So we use a multi-layer approach in QGIS, like hillshade for identifying ridges, then survey of inter topo sheet for getting streams. Then along with Google Herbert imagery, we were used for demarcation. So this is a former Panchayat President, Mr. Ramraj. He was very knowledgeable about the ward boundaries. So he will tell like, this ward have this stream as ward as a boundary. So this ward have this ridge as a boundary. This have this road is boundary. So we in QGIS interface itself, we were able to digitize, and we were able to create an accurate, especially accurate map out of it. So you can understand the difference. And for resource mapping, we used a PRA method, participate rural appraisal. So traditional PRA tools for mapping were very time consuming, and it was very difficult to make it spatially accurate, like we will get only like this. And so what we did was, instead of this, we from QGIS itself, we exported the base map and printed in A3 sheets, and we give to the residents itself. So when we locate our location or their location in the map, they were able to design or mark the nearby resources, and then using QField, we went to those locations and mapped them. So this is how they will give, and we will mark them, and we will go to those places with QField and able to map them. And with QField, we mapped around 310 resources all around the Vatwada Panchayat. And this is how, like, each day I will copy the project into my laptop and verify their fields and everything. And the main advantage we got from QField was we exported the high resolution maps and uh, kept as a base map in the QField, so that in low connectivity internet issue areas, we were able to accurately map the resources. And also in QField helps us to navigate around these forested areas and all. And some areas were protected and we couldn't go near them. So by standing in the nearby vantage point itself, we were able to capture them using QField, which may not be able to do with a handheld GPS device. And these were the fields, like name were there, ward number, surveyor, date, then a photo of the area was also taken. And in the static map we made, we can see that most of the resources were very concentrated in few places. As you can see, like here 132 resources were concentrated in this region. So what we did was we converted our QGIS project to uh, a web map, leaflet web map using QGIS to web plugin, and hosted in GitHub pages that you can access from here. If we zoom to each point and give a click, we can see the name and the photo of that resource. And for LULC mapping, land contour mapping, we classified Sentinel-2 imagery using semi-automatic classification plugin. And in high resolution imagery itself, it was very difficult to differentiate the plantation like eucalyptus grandis from natural forest. So in QField, we collected the sample of different LULC classes and use it for validating and correcting the generated maps. So this was the map land use contour map we got, and this is the table. Actually, we it was a field work of my batch of Department of Geography, SSC Scality, and these were the team members, and each of them had different like task. So some of us studied the social impact of plantation, some of us studied the problems of tribal people, some of us studied the human-animal wildlife conflict. So these tasks were packed as a chapter and was submitted to Panchayat officials along with the maps we prepared. And we also trained how to use the web map we created into the Panchayat people. And this is me, and this is my friend Abhilash, and this is my friend Arya. Both were the co-authors in my chapter. And yeah, and this is Dr. Suresh. So he is the mastermind behind this field work, and he is the one who walked us through these open source tools like QField, QGIS, and Python, geospatial Python, and all. And without actually our university is a government university, and we can't afford these proprietary softwares. So with the help of the QGIS only, we were able to learn this GIS and remote sensing, and we are thankful to that. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and thank you Sri Vishnu for your engaging session. And I'm very glad that all of us were able to put up some few case studies. And I'm hoping this is just the start. And moving forward, QGIS India User Group, the website will be hosting more and more case studies. But of course, if you anyone wants to submit the case studies, you can click on the website and you can submit a form and provide your case studies details. And we have a review team who reviews the content and actually follows the steps that you provide in the case studies. So we are verifying whether it is all done using QGIS or not also in the background. And we are doing some spell checks and everything, and then we are publishing the case studies on the website. So let's hope, because this is going to be YouTube live. So I'm hoping more and more case studies will reach us to the community, and we'll be able to post them online, and it will be a good exposure for everyone who's working on smaller scale and community mapping projects, which are might not be well established, but they are very meaningful to those communities who are placed there. And very small villages, very small tribes are being helped with open source softwares like QGIS, R, Python plugins, and everything. So moving forward, uh, just as we said, we have just started. So we are hosting our first event on QGIS, india.qgs.org, and I'll be sharing you some details of that. Uh, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So, because it's the month of March, we are hosting our first event, and we are starting Ladies First. On International Women's Day, we are hosting an event known as Indian Women in GIS. And for the same, we have this agenda, which is, we'll start with the Women's Day greeting. We will focus on introduction to QGIS and FOSS4G ecosystem. And we already have a participatory form through which we have already got a lot of responses, and people are sending in their case studies. And all these case studies are all the women GIS professionals from India. And with this event, we are hoping to empower women and generate leadership in geospatial industry. And of course, we will also have an interactive engagement session and discussion. So this is the link for the event registration. If anyone wants to register, they can just paste this link in the chat. I'll just paste this link in the chat, as well as if you're watching on YouTube, you can just scan this QR code, and you will be able to uh, fill the form. And I'll show you how the form looks like. So this is how the form looks like. You have to just put in all the details, and we are hoping that we get more and more pictures for International Women's Day post give to gain. So because we are very strong towards community mapping and supporting small scale projects, this is how we from GIS industry will be able to give back to the community. And just waiting to get more and more responses. Once we get all the responses, I'm sure we'll be able to share the timeline as well as the session access link, which will be published on the website very soon. I'm hoping by Monday, but let's see. Other than that, it is a very good opportunity for women to come forward, showcase their studies, showcase how they are working. And we will also be mapping all the case studies that will all the responses from the form. And that's why we have asked for the location in the form, so that we can use QGIS to web. We can have a session, and we can show how different regions, different women are using QGIS for their uses. Thank you.
Great. It was really great to hear from you, India User Group. You sound really organized and professional.
Thanks, Salma. I just wanted to share one more thing. Just a few days back, QField team, we were talking with the QField team, and they saw our case studies, and they said a lot of users in India are using QField, and they realized that the interface is not translated. And we put out a call for QField translation, and we got a lot of response. So Arvind is leading the effort. He's going to share what's our progress on that.
Nice.
Yeah. Hello, all. I'm audible.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So myself, Arvind, I'm an assistant professor here in Pune, India. So I myself a little bit new to the QField and then apps, because till now I was using EpiCollect for most of our data collections, and QField is much more integrated. So I would like to, as a QGIS users, we were like most of the time segregated, but we were today more than happy that today we have QGIS in the user group, and thanks to Ujawal and everybody, especially that came during the FOSSE 4G in India that happened. So basically, I requested him that I would like to work on the translation and the outreach app for QGIS India user group, because most of the time, as part of my institute, I also worked on spatial thinking. So how we can use spatial thinking as a tool where we can try to solve, how we can teach village people the geospatial tool so that they can see what problem they have. Because rather than saying that I have 100 problems, if they can spatially see where those 100 problems exist, they might be able to come up with an answer if possible, whether they could address or not. So they were very much interested. And when we work with diverse states, so as a Indian, as a multi language country, we work on multi language. So that was, sometimes as a barrier, because I myself only know maybe one or two major languages, and there are at least 16 major languages in the country. So that's why when Ujawal put this proposal, I was very much interested, so that I wanted to work on it. So as part of it, we are still in the part of asking the volunteers and getting together the names who would like to initiate this process. So till now, we have at least 21 volunteers who would like to translate this this Q field into 8 different Indian languages. So everybody has expressed the interest. So in the QField app also, we have put up a request to start the language translation from English to all other major languages. So once the translation is accepted, so we would like to assign particular volunteers and then have maybe a monthly targets of like to finish as much as possible during the volunteer time. So that is what we are kind of working. And as an initiative, we want to focus majorly on, like the terminological consistencies and then the technical accuracy of the words, because most of the time in some Indian languages, more than translation, transliteration is the important thing that we have to focus on, because most of the words require transliteration. Very much obviously. So this proper review and validating workflow is what we would like to focus, as we go together. Apart from it, some of the future direction that maybe I would like to talk with all the other QGS India user group members is hopefully maybe in the upcoming years where we can have a complete core interface. As much as if any language is possible, because many of the time when we work with local people and when they introduce them a tool, and then when they collect the data and when they see it as an interactive map, they are very much interested in trying to solve a problem themselves. So they are saying it's okay if you can't solve it. If there's a problem, if I can solve it to a certain extent, let me come and solve it. They just need to know where the problem exists. And if we could translate this QFill into Indian language, major Indian languages, then I believe that we can democratize this kind of data collection method, problem solving, and then hopefully try to solve the problem itself at the local level. Because many of them wanted to solve the problem, they have an idea, they can put together their own time, they work there, they just want to know what kind of problem it is, whether I can solve it, if I can solve it, where that problem exists. Maybe they might be able to go far away, but if it is there in their own village and they would like to focus on it. So I think this QFill will be really helpful when we try to translate all the major Indian languages if possible. And then one of the major thing that I was thinking I have not discussed with Ojawal, I was just thinking today, is that if we can have a develop of a, I would say, JS terminology glossary with base as in English and what it represents in all the other languages, like like sort of a Bible. So whatever term like we have, like georeferencing or maybe any tools, etc. So what does those information mean in all the other Indian languages? So sort of like a dictionary of latest convention and everything. So this is what we are focusing. We have just initiated the step, And hopefully, I think as soon as when we set up some targets and then calendars, and then by the time next year, I think we would be able to, we might accomplish something, whatever we can, and then hopefully in the next year presentation, I think we can do it a lot better. So, I mean, it's a short time, so I could not present anything, so I was just able to go through it. Yeah. Thank you from my side.
Great. So Tim said he's also blown away by how organized you are, and he really wants to see you come back to QGIS Open Day. And I could not agree more because these use cases were really interesting. Thank you for sharing all this stuff with us. I believe you will have more of these things coming up. And I really want to say I'm really glad about the women's in the geospatial. That sounds really great. And thank you for working on these matters in our community.
Thanks, Salma, for hosting, and it was really great to be here. And I'm glad all of us could present as a group to the wider QGIS community, and you'll definitely hear a lot from us.
Thanks, Salma. So really, really great. And, I live in a country, South Africa, where we have 11 official languages, and those are just the official languages. So I think, for the South African user group, and when we have never been this organized. So I think we'll take a few pages out of India's book and perhaps do that. And then Ujjwal, just from our side, India is the second most viewership of the QGIS channel. So it's United States and then it's India. So I was really interested in your stat that India is the biggest user of QGIS as a software. So just a cool stat that those things really align.
Yeah, and I think there is lots of users, and I'm also personally blown away by the amount of quality of the work that people have been doing. And it's again, we never had a chance to learn from each other and share this great work. So I think you'll see a lot more and a lot more engagement to the wider QGIS community as well.
And I think there's so many overlapping projects. I remember a project in East Africa that's also a little bit about like land tenure as well as infrastructure and that sort of thing. So the case studies you showed on the water drainage as well as the sort of land parcel mapping and that sort of thing, everyone can use that. Every country, particularly, in the global south and that sort of thing, we need really great accessible ways to do that and allow people the access to the information so they have ownership of the land and the tenure of the land is really clear.
Yes, definitely. So do we have some questions from YouTube? Nothing, just congratulations and praisals and regards to India user group. And in the chat, John said, thank you for the great examples and informations about how you built up a user group. Yes, that was really useful. So thank you, Indian user group. You were great.
Thank you.
Cheers, it was lovely to meet you. Bye.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Everybody, welcome to the QGIS user group community. Well done.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
So the next session will be in 7 minutes, and see you here.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.